I'm here in Santa Monica, and it's my birthday month, and I just wanted to quickly just add this to my book. Basically, we're talking about coronavirus, and social distancing and physical distancing, and also how basically these laws are implemented in the structure of societal life. Now, on my page, I was kind of like unnecessarily prompted to something called a set of Stonehenge stones, or even a phrase, a new world order, or even a phrase, an end of an era, or even a phrase, Armageddon, or even the phrase, the return of Christ, or even the phrase, spirituality is dead, or even the phrase, there are new people in your astrology chart that you didn't know of who basically have been trying to get to you, to guide you and steer you through this wave called the pandemic. Those would be Chiron, Lilith, there are others, but those are the two main ones, Chiron and Lilith. Then there's yourself, which is your higher self, your ego and your human self and your spirit self and your soul self. Now the reason I'm talking about this is because basically if a person does not know themselves or does not have the ability to get to know themselves and come into that phase of getting to know themselves, like this is one way. I am physically formed here, and this is the way that we actually see ourselves. You see, this is images, it's a picture, but we see ourselves like that up here, okay? That is basically our true nature within our senses, is how we see ourselves. So the reason I'm talking about that is that basically with this thing here, which is called coronavirus, COVID, a global pandemic, where apparently somewhere between a population of 10 to 20, and I would probably roughly say 30%, because not everything is fully documented. Or we could even just basically throw everything out, like they say, throw the baby out with the bathwater and just go a square up, 50-50%. 50 have got this, 50 haven't. Now, going back to the core of this, on the news, I have my face mask, but on the news, the face mask has become an issue. Just an issue. Not whether or not basically it's a lawful issue, just an issue. The reason I say an issue is because some people in politics have done this thing. We're not going to penalise people for not wearing a face mask, but we are implementing that face mask must be worn. Now, secondly, we're not really going to do any more testing, or we're going to slow down on testing and just go under the assumption that everyone is asystematic. Now, asystematic means asystematic. It is a system of searching for something. Now, unfortunately, we live in a society where basically this phrase, money don't fall out of trees, and it takes money, or things cost money. Now going back, if we are under this illusion that everyone is asystematic and we stop the testing, or we slow this testing down, right, there's this. It's called a herd mentality, sheep. So with the herd mentality, they are assuming on their calculations that it equals out whatever this bug is in the air, because in some way everyone will be able to deal with this in their own way. This is why basically I spent a lot of time doing my own research along with mainstream media to figure out, like the general practitioners and the general therapists, how this information is being sent out to us, and actually how this information is going to be of use to us, especially when people live in different environments, under different climates and culture systems. So we go back to this, which is asystematic. We're going to assume that everyone is asystematic. B, or 2, slow the testing down or no more testing. And 3, or ABCD, we encourage people to wear masks, but we won't penalise them. Now, the herd mentality, going back to asystematic, going back to you can wear a mask, you should wear a mask, it's polite to wear a mask, it's protective to wear a mask, going back to the length it will take to get a vaccination, going back to the threat, and it is a threat, for everyone to take a vaccination. What a lot of people are trying to distinguish is this: how much does hygiene in the way of food plays into all of this? Because your general practitioner will basically give you a prescription along the lines of, if you have flu, you are required to take X amount of time off from whatever physical activities you're doing. You are required to keep your distance from people. You are required to drink plenty of liquids, and you are required to eat fresh food. And also you are required to do what I am doing, which is to stand outside, be outside in the fresh air. Sweden did a test on its public. Sweden has one of the best healthcare systems in the world, just like England, the UK. And America apparently does, but also these third world countries that we don't have much respect for, they actually have better healthcare systems than ourselves, and customs and laws that are harsh. I just got what would be called a lottery ticket entry into the United States as a citizen. I'm now able to vote. My party is Democratic. I'm not really bothered what other people think about the Democrats and Republicans. It's like back in the UK with basically Conservatives, Labour and the Liberal Democrats, and then the various independents that cause a lot of problems and form parties and get into the House of Commons. I will be voting Democrat, but the people that are there for me to vote Democrat are not the people I want. But I do want Democrats to be back in the White House for a very, very good reason. Unfortunately, a lot of Americans don't understand that Democrats are very much more European mindset with the laws, meaning the laws of the simple human being, meaning they actually do believe in the laws of human rights. But under the American system of laws, where the Americans do not want any form of monarchy laws, it's very difficult to establish them or reassert them or even explain them. Now, going back to Sweden, it did an experiment on its people. Apparently not a lot of general practitioners and therapists are very happy with what they did. Like New Zealand, Sweden's a little bit slow in basically looking and seeing how threatening and disturbing this pandemic is. But what Sweden might be doing is actually looking at how the logistics were put in place in order to stop it from the very first aspect of what is called the first wave. The location of it and how quickly it spread. And this is also another reason why I'm not very happy with English laws. How dare they come out of the European Union? I don't really care. And the reason I'm saying I don't really care is because there was a reason that they fought to be in the European Union. They fought to be amongst 8 other countries, and they fought to have human right laws. Within the European Union, the Human Rights Act sits there. Now, we are civilized people, and I'm living in what is supposed to be one of the greatest civilized people's country in the world, under the greatest people's civilized Bill of Rights for a human being in the world. This little project of mine stemmed from this thing with a teacher and a couple of children in Wuhan at a school, and the video is called No Discrimination. I love children, but I hate the way that children are used. I really do. I absolutely detest the way that children are used. And it nudged me to the point where I was like, if this is propaganda from a child, I'm going to get very, very, very fucking upset. But at the same time, I totally understood where those children were coming from. So this is my way of putting something out to say, of all the isms in the world, I too am a child. I'm a child of the world, I'm a child of the universe, and I'm a child of the ultimate creator. And I have a responsibility just to do this one thing. I am aware, and I am learning, and I am doing my best to educate others by being just a simple human being who is a natural public figure in the world. And this crisis has done the worst to humanity, where each human being has forgotten that every one of them is a public figure. Now I'm back in Santa Monica, and I'm just going to show you this. And I'm just going to show you this, and I'm just going to get out of the way and show you this, because there is a lot of sheep, and what I have to do as a person is trust. I'm not wearing a mask, so I am now like them, whether as a group or as an individual, and I have to trust that we are all doing what is meant to be responsible for us to help slow this thing down and stop being naive to it. Just stop being naive to it. We've never really actually turned around and said this one thing. How do we know that our air is clean and we're safe? How do we know that flu literally stops and only turns up at a particular season? What element are we actually to look at and trust the most? Right now it's mildly windy. W-I-N-D-Y. Mildly windy in Santa Monica, California, USA. And by the way, I'm so fucking happy.